Hi guys, thanks for coming to my channel and checking this out. Today's an exciting day because the project is going to make your life so much easier around camp. At least if it's a in-place camp like deer camp or a summer camp, or maybe, your own private area that you like to go and you spend a lot of time there. So if you've ever camped out and cooked over a fire, bending over, dealing with smoke, and sometimes even dealing with rain or inclement weather, having an upright waist level cooking surface is going to save your back, but also just make your cooking experience a lot more enjoyable. I promise you. So today I'm going to show you how to make and build an upright fireplace to my patrons on Patreon, because without them, then this channel wouldn't be able to do what it's able to do. And if you like what you see, if you like this video and the channel, then consider buying me a cup of coffee and contributing to our efforts. We'd really appreciate it. It's Mr. Diary's Musings on Patreon. So what are you going to need for this build? Surprisingly, you're going to need quite a bit of wood, but not big chunks of wood. I would say find timbers that are no larger than 3 inches in diameter. Now your 4 uprights, I would suggest that you have a V at the top. It's going to make your cross braces on top a lot more stable, and it'll last a lot longer, especially as the ropes shrink and expand and you don't have to adjust as much having those crotches or V notches in the sticks. It's not necessary, but it will help you out. Now in my build, I only have 3 of them because I was only able to gather that much wood in my resources. So you use what you can, and if you can't find them, just use the square lashings. It'll be perfectly fine. You're also going to need quite a bit of timber that's no larger than 2 inches, and it's definitely no smaller really than 1 inch. Those are going to be your foundation for your grill surface. Now, as far as length, that's very subjective because it's based off of your height. I'm 6'1", and the way that I planned out the timbers that I was going to use, they're about chest height because I knew I wanted about 2 foot in the ground. So depending on the ground that you have, depending on what you have available and everything, you're going to have to adjust. But as far as planning out, since it's a grill, you want it about waist height. You don't really want any taller than that. And you're going to want to hammer your 4 braces about where your belt sits. Maybe about where your belly is. That way you can adjust the timbers that are surrounding it and bracing it. You can adjust it. It'll be fine. You can work with it, and that's the beauty of this whole thing, is that it's completely adaptable to what you need and what the circumstances allow. Okay? So let's get started. We're going to go ahead and put a point on this piece of wood here. This is going to be one of the 4 timbers that go into the ground, and we're going to make the angle pretty steep. Since this is going in the ground and I plan on it staying there for a while, we're hardening the points. As you can see, build up a fire over those and let them sit in there for about 5 minutes, rotate, and they'll be good to go. Once you have your 4 posts hardened and everything sharpened, you're ready to go, you can go ahead and start putting them in. Now here's a tip. When you hammer, give the post a little bit of a shake. Hammer, hammer, give a little bit of a shake. This goes back to when the railroads were built. You'd have someone who'd be a shaker, and you have another person who would be the hammer guy, John Henry, right? So this ground is pretty soft. It's a lot easier to do it now for me than if it was hard ground, but the idea remains the same. Get your post that you're hammering, it's going to be essentially a drill. It's going to be a larger diameter than the other posts. That way, once you put the other 3 posts in, they should go in fairly easy until they get to the bottom, and then you hammer in a few good more whacks to seat it. So let's go ahead and start hammering. So now comes the fun part. We're going to go ahead and tie square lashings on these 4 posts. I already did that one over there. Nice thing about using the Y branches is this gives a very secure foundation. I didn't have a 4th one, otherwise I would have used that one over there, but having 3 is pretty solid. That one at that corner, that was my post that I used to drill the holes for these other 3. So, you know, you work with what you have. You don't need Y branches. It just makes it a little bit easier, a little bit more secure, because this is going to hold some weight. And we want to make sure that, especially being outdoors and over time, that it doesn't sink down or fall apart. So that's another good reason to use the Y branches. So I'm going to go ahead and do that part, and then I'll bring you back. Now that we're done with our square lashings on all 4 points, and we're sure that it's really, really solid, now we can start cutting pieces of wood that should be pretty close to the same diameter to lay across. Now, you can use your tool, like your saw, to measure. Now, as you can see, this is a little short. Or you can grab some stick that you have laying around, lay that down, and make that your measuring stick. So now I can take this over to my sawbuck, and I can saw this, and we can start cutting pieces of wood that's roughly the same size. One of the nice things about a sawbuck, especially designed like this, where you have these projecting out pieces, if you have a piece of wood that's too short to lay across here, you can use leverage, put one end down and one end over top, and push down to brace this on this piece of wood, and that makes a really solid cutting area to cut the smaller pieces. Just like that. If you've liked what you've seen so far, if you found this stuff interesting, if you found it of value, please do me a favor and go ahead and click the like button. That way other people find it and it helps them out as well. I sincerely appreciate it. All right, change the camera and we'll move on to the next step. You may be wondering why I went ahead and cut all the pieces that's going to be for the bed of the coals and the ash and the dirt and things. I went ahead and did that because I wanted to make sure that I had enough stock to use for that particular purpose. Now, I've cut these 2 pieces of wood here. They're going to be the cross braces that are going to be about knee height, and they're going to be lashed on the shorter ends, and then I'm going to run 2 longer poles, again, lengthwise, and that is what's actually going to hold up these pieces of wood that you see on top of here. We're going to put dirt, and that's going to be the foundation, so when you put your coals and your ash, then it's not going to scorch or burn the wood that's underneath of it. And it's going to be awesome. Let's see how it goes. Now, it should be starting to take shape in your mind. So what we're going to do is we're going to lay down a bed of grasses. You can use reeds. This is my backyard, so I got plenty of grass from where I cut. You can use moss, something like that. So what the purpose of it is it's going to fill in the gaps. And then we're going to put about 2 inches of topsoil, and that's going to be the insulator for the grill. So if we take it and we just kind of bed it down, and we're going to take a stick, we're actually going to shove it in between the gaps here, and it'll be awesome. I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. We've got our grass laid out and distributed. Now, I went and grabbed some topsoil. and we're going to put the dirt facing down and spread it out. And then if you can find some sand or rocks, things like that, then that would be great, because that's also going to help insulate. Break that up. And we're going to put about 2 inches, and we're going to smash it down really well. And I'll show you what it looks. Okay, now once you have your coals going, go ahead and scoop those up and put them on the grill. Now, isn't this fantastic? If you decide to build this grill, this setup, do me a favor. Let me know how you liked building it. And if you did anything that's unique and you added your own touches, or maybe you found something that worked a little bit better, please come back and leave me a comment, or you can go on my channel page and send me an email. I'd love to hear from you. You know, I think this is fantastic. And, you know, if I was going to make this and not shoot videos, honestly, I'd probably put up a framework so I could hang my utensils on it. But since I shoot videos here, I got to have the adaptability of being able to move around the thing. But I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed it. And if nothing else, I hope you you take it and do something else with it. Because there's a lot of skills, a lot of things here that you can adapt to other projects. So I think it's fantastic. Now next week, you want to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button, because I'm going to do a cooking demonstration on this. And it's the first time I ever use Lockhart Ironworks skillet outdoors, over a fire, over some coals, and we're going to put it through the test. And you get to see it with me and how it reacts. We're cooking a period recipe. Last year, viewer, Mr. Hejeki, sent me a really cool Boy Scout resource. So I'm going to use one of those recipes on here, and we're going to try it out with this. Now, if you like it, you should click here on this video, because this one is going to show you how to make a fantastic camp bread in your mess kit. And it's delicious, especially with some butter and honey. Over here, you know, we talk about this being a deluxe bushcraft grill. Well, this is the 100-year-old deluxe camp stove if you were an auto camper back in the 1900s, early 1900s, okay? But it's got all the bells and whistles, and you don't want to miss it. Check that out and let me know what you think. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Give a kiss out to your loved ones, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.